All righty, can you still hear us okay?
So we just got.
Fran, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. That's muted. All right, so now I'm going to share my screen. Can you see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay. And give me 1 second. Okay, so we should be all good, right?
Looks good to me. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, so with that, I think we all are here. I am on my phone as well, just to kind of see, love the picture. Thanks, Diane. So we have Fringe. Okay, so Edwardson, turn over to you.
All right. You recorded and everything, right?
Yes, we're on YouTube Live. I'm just needing the clicker, but go ahead and get started.
All right. Good evening. Welcome to Sutton Middle School's Go Team meeting, where we will follow the agenda as it has been emailed to you and publicly noticed. I would like to remind everyone that this is a meeting of the Go Team. Only members of the team may participate in the discussion. Any members of the public present are here to quietly observe. For members of the Go Team, please identify yourself when you speak. I am pleased to call this meeting of the Sutton Middle School Go Team to order at 5:35 p.m. Our first order of business is to call roll. The secretary will now take roll.
Dominique Merriweather.
Present.
Stephanie Coton. Present. Nick Sullivan, present. Shauna Akey. Demarcus Lamar.
Present.
Adrienne Williams. Present. Joel Iverson.
Present.
Ann Egan.
Present.
Shanika Jones. Present. Oh, not on my list.
Present. I'm here. I'm here.
Sorry.
The team will only be able to take official action if a quorum is present. Secretary, is there a quorum present?
Yes, there is a quorum present.
All right, thank you for that. We have a quorum present. Our first order of business is to approve the agenda. This was provided to you and copies are here. Are there any changes to the agenda? May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
This is Fran Egan. I'll make a motion.
A second?
I second.
All in favor, please say aye so the secretary can record your vote.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? All right, that has been approved. All right, next we will review and approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting. The minutes have been provided to you. Are there any corrections? Okay. If there are no further corrections, may I please have a motion to approve the previous meeting minutes?
Motion.
Thank you. A second?
Motion.
All in favor, please say.
Sorry.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 I gotta move away from y'all. All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions, please say abstain. All right. So both of our action items have been completed. We will now move to the discussion items on our agenda.
Excellent. So Edwards, because I don't have a clicker, would you be able to just maybe sit by the computer and just kind of toggle the arrow, please?
I got you.
And so thank you again, Edwards. And so, yeah, this is our staff picture from the year. So I just wanted to at least kick it off with all of our staff members. kicking off showing you guys all of our wonderful staff members. So our topics that we will discuss for today, we're going to look into our strategic plan and review our SMART goals. We're going to have a data. We're super thrilled to share MAP scores, Georgia milestone scores, and of course, give everyone a principals report with our current enrollment and leveling and next steps. So now let's take a dive into our strategic plan. And that was, I believe, Jody had left this clicker, I believe. That's not sure it is. Okay.
You can start. I'll try this.
Okay, so this is our strategic plan for years 22 through 25. And so really our mission and vision is at the top of our plan. And at the bottom, you will see our SMART goals. And so over this period of time, there is a need for subgroup increase by 5% for ELA and math. The third goal you will see is about our BAS screener. And so this is something that we will have to update as a school leadership team because we are no longer, doing the BAS screener as a district. And you guys are familiar with the BAS, where the kids are able to self-assess, rate their feelings, and share how they're doing. And so we will update that goal. The last goal, stakeholder engagement, will be supported through one event a month that targets the needs of parents and our community. And so on our strategic plan, you will see our priorities, our strategic initiatives, and just school strategies. For this first one, fostering academic excellence, we previously spoke about meeting the diverse needs of all learners and a focus on targeting instruction, remediation, and interventions for all students. And school strategies to do this are tiered blocks of instructional support, which is just simply meaning we have an opportunity for kids to receive multiple supports. So grade level, all kids, for example, take ELA and math. As an additional, tiered support, they have the REP side of math and ELA. And then as a third option, we have the connections math and ELA that we're able to give support. And so that's how we tier our support for students based on data. All right. As next part of our strategic plan, building a culture of student support, using SEL to support what's happening, weekly SEL lessons via our second step curriculum. I just spoke about the tiered blocks of instructional support. And as you guys know, because we're no longer using the BAS screener, we will use another metric for supporting and rating our kids behaviorally and emotionally. The next one, equipping and empowering leaders and staff, making sure our staff, they have the necessary resources to be successful during the school day, and also staffing the school to allow for student needs beyond academics to be met, and also making certain that all teachers receive IB MYP training within a year of hire, and also complete the gifted endorsement, DLI, ESOL, or reading endorsement within 3 years of hire. School strategies for that, collaborative approach to budgeting, ensuring staffing in all areas, and each year set aside funds from the budget to meet training and endorsement needs. The last piece here, creating a system of school support, which really focuses on partnering with families and communities, engaging parents and community through effective outreach, hosting a minimum of 4 parent events during the school year with bilingual Spanish translations present. I know this year we took an additional step where we started, we actually started last year, Parent University. I know some of you guys are familiar with that. And so because so many parents are doing other things and super busy with schedules, in addition to the community outreach events that I go to personally, we incorporated parent universities on several topics to support families. And I think it's been a major, major success. We started our first parent university with Meet Your Grade Level Admin, where we had administration to really come on, present, and talk all things grade level. And of course, having all families have access to school events and opportunities to support their students. As I just mentioned, providing school events in multiple modalities from live, Zoom, and recorded. And lastly, providing training and support for parents on supporting their students in all areas, whether it's SEL, technology, academic focus, or targeted outreach to subgroups. So last year on the GOAT team, we ranked our school priorities. We ranked them and decided what would be considered, our priorities from high to low. And as a GOAT team, we focused on starting with number one, fostering academic excellence for all data, curriculum, and instruction signature program. The second one being building a culture of student support and whole child and intervention, personalized learning. The third one, equipping and empowering leaders and staff, strategic staff support, equitable resource allocation. And the last one, creating a system of school support, partnering with families and communities. So connecting the strategic plan to our continuous improvement plan. So starting with our strategic plan, targeting instruction, and aligned to that, our continuous improvement SMART goal is by May 2025, students will increase on the ELA and math assessment by 3% in our subgroups. Thank you, Erwin. And a key indicator of that, monitoring assessments, math assessments, amplify ELA assessments, math unit assessments, progress learning, and our walkthrough data as an admin team. Learning is something new this year that we are utilizing across the entire school. It's an opportunity for teachers to, and Jones, do you want to share? I mean, I'm doing a talk. You want to share about progress learning?
It definitely is a universal tool we're using across the school, where every content has the autonomy to create very quick, formative, or summative type assessments, just to check the student mastery on the specific content standards that they're practicing or reviewing for that week. So again, as teachers are utilizing this platform probably every other week to assess their students. Again, a quick assessment is probably about 5 questions. And then from that particular data point, the students are able to select their personalized learning activities. So it connects to the personalized learning initiative, which is a part of the SIP plan as well.
And the beautiful thing, thank you, Ms. Jones, for sharing that. The beautiful thing about progress learning is that the questions are aligned to state standards, so it's direct alignment there. And then you have a variety of questions. So they stand from DOK level 1, 2, and it goes on up. And so our students are getting exposure to quality questions, questions aligned to that of the standard, but also that meets the rigor of the standard as well. And so I'm excited about progress learning. It's kind of serving as our roadmap throughout the year that we will utilize to see how our students are doing with different standards. And so we'll have ongoing communication throughout the year with how progress learning is working. The next one, as a strategic plan priority, social emotional learning. By May 2025, our school suspension rate will decrease by 0.3% from that should be from 46.46% to 0.43. I'm elated and excited to share that our students do extremely well with over 1,600 students, and we're not even at a 1% suspension rate. That is commendable. Now, do we have areas of opportunities with certain students? And so principle is that because we only have almost a handful of students needing some targeted support, we're able to truly hone in and give those kids the support that they need, because it really is a small number that I can count on one hand. And so again, just looking to decrease this number. Key indicators, we're looking at attendance, we're looking at counseling data, and WCI stands for Whole Child Intervention Team. And this is a team that meets weekly to discuss attendance, to discuss behaviors, to discuss how students are moving if they are on behavior trackers. And so this is a team that meets weekly with one of our assistant principals examining student behaviors. The last piece, community engagement and parent outreach, increase the percentage of families responding positively to the school climate survey question from 64% in 2023 to 74%. And that question is, I am actively involved in activities in my student's school. So we definitely want to increase that. And we're hoping through outreach and through some things we're planning this school year, we will be able to focus on this part of the engagement. And of course, key indicators, sign-in sheets, agendas, and also giving parents opportunities to get feedback via surveys. So my favorite part, we're going to jump into some data. So this is a look at our fall map results. And what I wanted to do, I wanted to break this down by grade level so you guys can see each grade level and their performance. As a reminder, the red indicates beginning, the yellow developing, the light green proficient, and the darker green distinguished. So what I want you to do is just kind of look through each data. And if you would, if you're on Zoom, you can come off mute. But what do you notice about the data? What are some wonderings? What are some glows of it? What are some areas of opportunity you guys feel that we have with this data as it relates to our math and reading map results?
I think we've got more room for improvement in math. Math relative to reading is an area of opportunity.
Absolutely. Thank you, Joel, for chiming in and sharing that. So definitely an area and opportunity for math. Anyone else, you guys notice anything as you're looking at this data?
It would be helpful to see how it compares to last year to know if the kids are improving or falling behind.
Yeah, and that's information I can pull and share with the team.
And I mean, assuming that sixth graders are going to seventh grade, it looks like the overall scores in total are improving, like from sixth grade to seventh grade, right?
And also too, you guys, this is our first map assessment. So it gives us opportunity as a school to examine the domain areas in meetings and when teachers are planning, identifying and looking at who those kids are in the red, who those kids are in the yellow, but at the same time, examining who those kids are in proficient and distinguished on how we can accelerate their learning. And so this is a good foundational piece for us to start with. And so what we'll be doing is at the next map administration, we'll also look at this data and we'll be able to do a comparison to see, are we seeing growth? Are we seeing any trends? And so that's something also too that I look forward to. All right. So this is our milestones results. Now I did go back a few years from 22, you see 23 and 24. This is our English language arts milestones results just as a school. Now, just as a reminder, I can pull this from every angle by subgroup, by race, by grade level, but yeah, I didn't want us to be here till 1 o'clock in the morning. So I just kept it at just a very high level school rate. And so what are some wonderings? What do you notice when we compare English language arts milestones results to previous years?
I see that there's definitely been improvement from at 23 to 24 because the red has decreased, but not the what's the
Developing.
not developing or proficient, but the distinguished is where the gain has happened.
Yeah.
And that's what we really want.
So we've seen, I think that's a good point for you to make, that we've seen a large increase in the number of students scoring in distinguished. And to your point, as far as the 21%, where compared to last year, we did decrease, and that is a positive decrease that we want to move those students along in different categories. And so again, having this data serve as a roadmap as to what students need. So when we are with them during the day, we can give them that support based on what this data says.
To add to that 17%, I know last year we talked a lot about not just focusing on the 3% subgroups, but also pushing the ones who are proficient to try to get to distinguished. So that shows that, you know, we have,
That's why we
it's a
changed
lot
the
of growth
language in
there.
everything last year.
And that was definitely a good point, Edward. So online, Mr. Edwards made a good point of last year, our focus being not just the kids struggling, but those kids who are already demonstrating mastery and providing extension and acceleration opportunities for those kids. And I think that's an opportunity why just such good gains in our ELA, especially in the distinguished category. And under the leadership that department of Miss Jones, so kudos to Miss Jones and all of the English teachers that she's leading with this data and where we're headed. Yeah. So next, examining math results, all grade levels, previous years. Now, again, we are not able to show this school-wide just yet because this data is still embargoed. However, what do we notice about our math results? Now, just to give context, I personally was a bit nervous about math because last year our math teachers, they did have to pivot. They started with Amplify using the platform. Mid-year, they were instructed to no longer use the platform, learn a different resource of the Georgia resource provided by the state. And so that required additional PD, additional coaching. And so it was a shift, not only for teachers, but for students as well. And so me personally, looking at what transpired last year and seeing this data, I am thoroughly impressed. Now, of course, like anything, there's always room to improve, but looking at where we are headed and trending, very, very proud of Mrs. Riddle, our math coach, and all of our math teachers and what they're doing. So again, just opening the floor, any grows, what do you notice when looking at this, and especially when comparing it to previous years?
Well, you definitely see the decrease in the red, 5%, and then the increase in distinguished 5%. So that's what we want. That's amazing.
Yep, absolutely.
Like you said, the fact that they had to pivot in the middle of the year and still managed to do really well is so commendable. So I don't think, you know, it was kind of one of those situations where we were hoping for the best.
Yeah.
But preparing for the
Yeah.
given that shift. And so to see these type of gains just goes to show, you know, everyone is invested in supporting the students where they are. I mean, I definitely believe the support of the REP department adds to that. It's just so many, so much support that's in place that's boosting these scores, which is a good thing.
I think it also speaks about, like, last year was the first year we had coaches back as well. And for both departments, math and ELA, to make gains like that, that was because we had people who were like doing the work, leading us, things like that. Because since my first year here, we've been without that. I've been here 6 years at this point. So I think that was, yeah, that was very good, like bringing those people back, bringing those positions back, and putting Riddle and Jones in those spots.
I would like to point out, last year was our first full year of really taking a tackle at personalized learning. Previous years, it was always pockets of teachers doing it. It wasn't implemented school-wide. And so although we had to give PD to teachers and we had to kind of push through some of the rumblings, it goes to show that something happening in the building, it's happening well and we're doing it right. If we're noticing the gains, if we're noticing just the increase in these numbers, me personally, I would say personalized learning is working. I mean, giving students what they need, and really, whether it's remediation or acceleration, I think for us to do this school-wide last year, it just really supports that we are on the right road. So it's a matter of adding gas to this personalized learning vehicle and stepping on the gas pedal so we can continue to make gains. And so anyone else, I don't know if anyone online, I can't see because I'm across the room, the chat box and the way it's set up, but did anyone have any thoughts online who's with us?
I'll help monitor the chat. Nothing in there so far, and I feel like the room's captured what I'm seeing as well.
Thanks, Fran. All right, keep going. So now, science and high school physical science, Georgia Milestones results. Last year was our first year incorporating high school physical science. And so this year, when we look at this numbers for science, if you notice for 2024, 347 of our students took the science milestones, but there's a gap because the 150 that were pulled, they took the physical science. And so I think the obvious here is there is a room for some extreme support for our physical science classes, some intense PD for teachers, constant support with planning sessions, and actually being in those classrooms, really doing an inspection of what we expect. That is something that we are working on. And this year, our science students took the MAP science test. And so that will be data that we'll be able to utilize, looking at the domains to give those kids a personalized approach, as what we're doing with ELA and math. And so making sure that science is personalizing more than anyone in a sense, because we must get to a place where we're making some good gains with science. So again, the obvious here, where there's that disconnect with our 8th grade. We'll say, for context, this is something I noticed district-wide. When I looked at the data, when comparing it to other schools, comparing it to the district, you see a lot of middle schools, when doing that analysis, are having a struggle with science. So it is an area of opportunity for us. Me personally, I look at it as the glass is half full. It's only up from here. And I'm excited to see, what these teachers do as we have restructured what science classrooms should look like this year, and then some of those meetings. Anyone want to chime in just about this science data as we're looking at it? Okay. Social studies, GMAS results. Again, looking at a comparative analysis from the previous years, what is something that you notice with this data? I'll kind of kick us off. I look at this, and we look at year 2024, where we should see decreases. We did just that. We jumped from 23% to 20%, which is excellent. In the yellow, we were able to jump from 32% to 31%. But where we needed to make increases, we were able to jump from 29% proficiency to 33% proficiency, which I think is commendable. And then also, of course, 16% of our students staying distinguished. So just like anything, like I said, there is opportunity for this data, but for me, we are trending in the right direction. And so Georgia Studies, which is the actual course name, our teachers are doing a phenomenal job of making sure experiences are real world, they can apply it, it's ID infused, but also giving these kids what they need, that personalized approach as they are navigating throughout the year. So glows and grows, this is where we get an opportunity as a team to discuss what were some glows. I know we've kind of broke it down based on the data that we reviewed, but would anyone like to just throw out what are some glows of this data in its totality that we were able to view?
You said we're headed in the right direction based on the data. There's not this continuous spiral down or trending down, it's definitely trending up in the growth direction, demonstrating that all the students are growing. Even the gifted population, which is the hardest population to grow. So to show growth in those contents for that population is pretty astounding.
Anyone else, any glows? And thank you for that, Ms. Jones. Any glows that you notice? I think Jones did a phenomenal job just kind of capturing overall. What about grows? We know the obvious is science. We know there's some work there. And so I know in our continuous improvement plan and going back to the strategic plan, we talk about opportunities for teachers to receive professional development. And so that is something we will be utilizing heavily this year. For me, it's starting in-house, seeing what the district is providing first before we're just out spending money. But if there is a need based on our school's needs, not other schools, but what our teachers need at Sutton, I'm thankful to say that we do have those funds to bring in additional resources to support teachers who will then be able to support students. And so I think this is a perfect opportunity to tie it back to our continuous improvement plan. I will say, just as an additional grow, for me, really thinking about Parent University and how we can give parents an opportunity to receive skills and tips to support science at home, whether that's resources, giving them opportunities on things they can do, websites they can go on to also further support what's happening in the building. And so based on the science data being, for me, the most alarming, there's room for improvement in everything that we just witnessed, but by far, if we had to rank this, science would be the number one area that we really need to make sure we're tackling and focus on.
Can I add another?
Yeah,
quote?
absolutely.
Just since been on the Go team for so long, I think it's cool to see the things that we implemented 2 years ago when we made the decision to go back to coaches and get the targeted support. To have one full year of that plan and seeing all the increases, I think is a positive. And then now we have like the foundation. So now when we go to science, we already know what works because we can see it in ELA and math. So now we can kind of go in and do that personalized learning as a science team. But it's refreshing to see that the decisions we made as a Go team and how we allocated funds, kind of going in the right direction.
And I think that's a beautiful thing for you to mention, because again, I remember us having those conversations about, we think this would be a good idea, or let's incorporate this, and to kind of see it, kind of like seeing our baby is what it really is, and seeing the baby grow. We are on that right road. So again, for me, I smile when I look at this, because before we didn't have all of these supports that we have in place, we didn't have them. So again, thank you for mentioning that, Edwards. It's very impactful for us to notice that and to realize, it's hard to already move a school that's really high performing. And so to see how we're moving students based on decisions we made as a Go team, it goes to show what's happening here is impacting at a larger scale for both campuses in our school. So again, thank you for lifting that. So this is our discussion protocol. I like to kind of ask questions in between the slides. And so I know we've already kind of captured a lot of this just as we went over the data, but what do you notice, wonderings, and additional questions you have? What I would be more open to as a team, what are just some of the additional questions based on this data that we were able to share, based on some of the context we were able to provide? Are there any additional questions just for the group, for me? Next steps, the floor is open at this time for that.
I'm going to ask my question that I always wonder: how do the DLI students compare, especially with this being our first year of science and knowing that they get their instruction in science? I'm curious how they're performing.
Gotcha. And I can work with Mr. Edwards to make sure we can send over that data as well with our DLI students with their map, and once the data is readily available. So thank you for lifting that, Fran. So you note that we can send that out. Any additional questions? All right, let's keep going. So this is our timeline for Go teams. We are currently here in phase 4, utilizing data. We will review and possibly update the school strategic priorities and plan between September and December. So we'll continue to just examine data, do our analysis, put it on the table as to what's happening, and make decisions from there. In preview of phase 5, before winter break, we will take action and vote and rank our strategic plan priorities for 25-26 school year as we prepare for budget discussions. Any questions overall? Any questions? All right, next slide. Okay, so now we're going to get into the principal's report, where I would like to share with everyone enrollment and leveling updates. And so on the next slide, Edwards, we did have a budget adjustment. And so our projected enrollment, we had 1,561 students. At the 15-day count, we were at 1,612 students. We have surpassed that number as well. Off the top of my head, I believe last time I checked, which was yesterday at about 1630. And so a budget adjustment of $431,000. And so as you can see, we have more students. And so the beautiful thing about this is that we aren't losing anyone. We are gaining people. And so on the next slide, I'm going to talk about the leveling reserve. And so last year when we went over this, we talked about for the reserve funds that we have, our plan that we decided as a GO team was to use this money for professional development, teaching supplies, student incentives, computer equipment, computer software, teacher stipends, and of course, field trips. For me, the biggest bang for our buck here is going back to our continuous improvement plan in our strategic plan, making sure that we have allocated funds for PD, especially as we just got done talking about science and opportunities for math and even ELA, using those funds for that, but also too, making sure our teachers have what they need in the classroom. I know science teachers right now in 7th grade, they're working on dissecting frogs and pigs. So making sure these real life examples that we can give kids these opportunities, that we are utilizing these funds for that. And of course, computer equipment, making sure every teacher has a computer cart where they are able to use for their children during the instructional period. So this was the plan that we agreed upon last school year as a GO team. So here's a summary of changes based on our budget. We will be adding 2 additional ELA teachers for 6th grade and 8th grade, just to alleviate some of the class sizes. And so that's really where we are with the personnel changes. Now, again, the beautiful thing, we aren't losing anyone. We're just trying to make sure we balance our classroom sizes. We don't want classes of 30 kids and above at Sutton. We do try to keep it at no more than about 25, 26. And so my next step is, after having this conversation regarding budget, would be to notify the community and just where we are with our numbers, how we were able to grow. So essentially just giving a synopsis of this, what you guys just saw. The additional 2 teachers to support class sizes, and then letting families know we will have another layer of leveling. And I will communicate in the letter of a school of this magnitude and this size. That's just what it tends. That's just where we're leading. I would rather have those 2 teachers, have students moved into those additional classes, so that we can make sure we have an instructional environment supportive of learning. We can't say we want to do all these things in our SIP, in our strategic plan, if we have class sizes that are through the roof. And so my hope is that with those ELA numbers being the highest, that we will alleviate some of our ELA teachers in both 6th and 8th grade to support these sizes. Any questions or anything just about the decision, the need, any questions about this?
Is there a particular grade that's increasing their number as opposed to, are we seeing
6th and 8th grade.
6 and 8?
Yep. So we're seeing high numbers coming in 6th and 8th. And these numbers are actually reminding me of when I was here before the pandemic. And so when we were in the 1630s and 40s at that time. So, and I know to our conversation earlier about having people come back to Sutton, families leaving private schools, I embrace it. Again, we have the space. Now today I'm saying I embrace it. Now actually a few days from now, I might give you a different answer, but it is a beautiful thing to have that we have people really just wanting to be in our school. And we'll just continue to monitor and make it work once we add these additional 2 teachers. We already have posted these jobs on the career website. And so I can only imagine the number of applicants we will receive, with APS being the highest paying district in the state. And so looking for someone to hire, I'm not concerned about that at all. For me, the concern is being very intentional about who we hire, knowing the type of teachers we want in front of students, knowing the type of teachers our students deserve. That is going to be big. And I am happy to say that Ms. Jones will lead a lot of this as ELA teachers fall under her shop. She will be at the forefront of making sure we choose the best of the best when we set up interviews. And so hopefully at the next GO team meeting, we'll be able to provide an update regarding where we are with this process of adding these 2 teachers. But again, my hope is to send out communication to the community before the end of the week, making them aware of our numbers, personnel changes, and possibility of your kid is in 6th and 8th grade, additional leveling only taking place with ELA. You gotta look at your face, go ahead.
I do. I don't know why I'm under the impression that we were beat out by another district on salaries, which is why we lost some teachers last year, the year before.
Well, yeah, so you had Cobb, who was always the top performing paying district, I should say. So prior to, we did have teachers going elsewhere because of compensation, because of, family needs. I get it. However, last year, was it the end of May, when we released our new salary scale, what was interesting, and I can share, even people who decided to go elsewhere for higher pay were contacting me trying to come back. And my response was, hey, the position has been filled. We wish you well on your new journey and enjoy. Yeah, exactly. But now the table is setting that, to your point, they have turned where now APS is at the top spot. And for me, that level of pay that teachers are getting, we should be mandating that we get the very best of the best. And so when we talk about an interview, this isn't just a simple, we ask you questions, hey, you're hired. But there is a performance task. We want to get you in classrooms. We want to see what you know. We want to see what you can do. And so making sure our hiring practices internally are one in which they're rigorous and one in which we know that we are weeding out, I don't want to say bad teachers, but I will say basic teachers from the exemplar teachers. And so that's, again, kudos to Ms. Jones and what she's doing, making sure that we have a rigorous process for hiring.
And we can have a sidebar about this if now is not the appropriate time to ask this question, but just out of curiosity, how much of the role do you play specifically in your team in the hiring process versus downtown? Do they do the vetting and then it comes, like, how does that work? Is this now appropriate time to talk?
Yeah, no, we definitely can. So the question was about the role in which downtown they play into the school. And so when it comes to like background checks and things of that sort, that's done at the downtown level. So everyone is essentially vetted through district office. And so once you've been vetted, you are actually approved to actually pop up in the platform, to where as a school, when Ms. Jones goes in to look at the applicants, she's able to see everyone who applied and everyone who was approved through the district process. Now, me on the other hand, because I am just kind of OCD and very territorial, it gets me in trouble in my personal life, but nevertheless, I like to personally do Google searches. And so when we have applicants and we're interviewing candidates and say, hey, we've identified our top 4 candidates, I personally get those names. I like to just see what's online, because again, while everything is not perfect, we just want to make sure that we are taking every precautionary step to make sure that we're getting the right person in. And so we don't have any hiccups of things that's happened in the past, as you may know what I'm referring to. And we're recording right now, so I won't go into detail, but everyone in the room knows. Yeah. All right, no problem. Any questions? Okay, let's keep it moving. So that's all that I have for my principal's report for the discussion items of the strategic plan, looking at data. I do know Mr. Edwards captured just some notes as far as sending out some DLI. So Mr. Edwards will remind me to do some screenshots and send that out of the DLI data that I'll make sure I have out, if not tomorrow, because I am at a principal's meeting, before the week is out, making sure everyone has access to see that. And any other data that you would want to see, I can pull things and kind of send that out. So at this time, I'll turn it back over to Mr. Edwards.
All right, thank you, Dr. Merriweather. All right, now we are at the public comment. Checking nobody. To my understanding, I didn't see anyone sign up for public comment. Did you? I haven't checked it recently in the last hour. Okay. All right, so there is no public comment at this meeting. Now we move on to our announcements. Does anyone have any announcements to make that for the good of the group?
One announcement that I will share, just again, our cell phone smartwatch policy. Sorry, Diane. Okay.
Diane.
Hey y'all, happy fall. I am excited to let you all know that we have secured a day and time and location for our G3 Summit. It will be Saturday, September 28th at Tuskegee Airmen Global Academy. And we would love for all of you to attend. We are hoping that every Go team can identify at least 3 members, but we'd love to have all of you. We have a great day planned. We are going to offer a new member orientation session. So Dr. Johnson will be coming in the morning to speak with Go team members. And then we just have a bunch of different sessions that we are securing right now. Please put it on your calendar, save the date, and we hope to have registration out in the next couple of days.
Thanks, Diane, for that. So what I was just sharing, as I continue to assess and monitor our cell phone policy, smartwatch policy, I'm just so proud of our kids. They've been doing a phenomenal job. When I'm in the cafeteria, or I'm in the hallways and I'm asking kids questions, I'm just saying, so what do you think about it? And for me, it makes me smile for kids to just be authentic and say, hey, at first I didn't like it, I was upset. But for kids to be able to identify and acknowledge how it's forcing them to interact more with one another, and that some of the drama that would happen during the school day, distracting them from learning, is not happening. And so I can't take the credit for it. Again, I'm just a visionary here. I have to give the credit to the team of the teachers really enforcing the policy. As I've said, we've had some sacrificial lambs, and that's perfect because we want to make an example. But I do think when we talk about what's best for teaching and learning, we talk about what's best for our school. I love the fact that we didn't have to invest thousands of dollars in yonder pouches because our kids are compliant. They meet our expectations. And this, again, is why Sutton is such a special place, because anytime you walk in the hallway, you won't see AirPods, you won't see headphones, and you won't see cell phones. And so it's about keeping this momentum up, making sure we have environments that are distraction free for children so we can do the work of our SIP, so we can do the work of our strategic plan. So for me, just very, very proud to see that. And honestly, we have hit the school year running. I mean, it has been, for me, the best start of the school year that we've had in my 8 years being here. And so just really proud in what's happening, and just to see how we're going to go down the road. So I'm just looking forward to keeping this up. Anyone else, just any announcements or anything? Feedback on anything before I turn to Mr. Edwards for adjournment?
Do we need to determine who is able to attend on the 28th?
Diane, do we need to determine who's able to attend on the 28th?
It's open to any Go team members, so it doesn't have to be like a vote or anything like that. So if you can attend, you can register. That's something, if you want to talk about it, you're welcome to. But it can also just sort of be a poll through email, because it's a train. I mean, it kind of fits in that training realm. Okay,
that's what we'll do. So we will definitely fire off an email chain with everyone on it and kind of see who's open. And so I know Edwards will add that to the list to send out. So I'll turn it back over to Mr. Edwards.
Okay. We have reached the end of our agenda. Is there any additional business at this time? Okay. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? A second?
Second.
All in favor, please raise your hand. Or say aye. Okay, that's different. All opposed? Any abstentions? All right, this meeting is adjourned at 6:21.
Thank you so much, Mr. Edwards. So those of you online, thank you for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Again, thank you and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Right, and Dr. Merriweather, if you could either hang on or give me a call, I'd appreciate it.
Yep, I will give you a call. Let me pack up here. And when I get in my office, I can give you a ring.
Okay, all right, I will.
We'll sign off. Thank you, Mr. Edwards. Great job.
Thank you for him.
Yeah. I'll make sure that I am at my phone, because you said you'd call me on my office phone, sir.